Personal story segment tonight. As you may know, we interviewed Mitt Romney last night, so it's only fair that we bring you Newt Gingrich this evening. The latest CBS News poll has Romney and Gingrich tied at 20% nationwide among Republican primary voters. The speaker joins us now from Iowa. So, you may know that I criticized you last week for saying that you would hold federal judges responsible for the decisions and that you may even bring the U.S. Marshals in to bring them to Washington, if you were president, to explain what they're doing. Was I wrong in that criticism?
Well, I think that basically the situation I was asked about would be the equivalent of an impeachment. And clearly in an impeachment situation, the Congress has the authority under the Constitution to compel the judges to show up. So I was simply explaining the constitutional provision that exists, which does allow the Congress in circumstances where they're questioning the judges to ensure that they show up. People have blown this way out of proportion. There are cases where you have to rebalance the powers between the branches, and in those cases, the Congress and the President have the authority to respond to the courts. There is no Supreme Court over the President and the Congress. That's a fundamental misunderstanding of the law, and that's the key point I drove at. And we have a 50-some page paper at newt.org that outlines precedents that go back to Hamilton, Madison, Jefferson, Jackson, Lincoln, and FDR. So I think we have a pretty good case historically for what I've laid out.
All right, I think the mistake you made, with all due respect, is that you used a little guy, Beery, or whatever his name is, in Texas, who made an insane ruling that you can't say amen at a graduation. Now, look, this guy was overturned. He doesn't know what he's doing. But you can't have Congress involved with foolish decisions at that level, and that's a guy you pointed to. So that's where people went, whoa.
Why not?
Well, because it's not the government's business until it gets out of control. They overturned the guy in 10 seconds.
Bill, they didn't overturn him in 10 seconds. He cost the school district thousands of dollars. You yourself just said it. You have a judge sitting on a bench who made an insane decision. Your language, not mine. Why do the American people have to tolerate an anti-religious bigot sitting on the bench?
Because the system has a way to neutralize that guy, and it did. See, look, and this is, again, with all due respect, you came off as imperious in this. And people have that perception of you anyway, that if you were the president, you're going to do pretty much what the heck you want to do. And people are going, whoa, wait a minute.
No.
No?
No. First of all, the only case I indicated I would directly intervene as the commander-in-chief is in the case of Boumediene, where the courts have grotesquely overreached and suggested that American civil liberties extend to combatants on a battlefield. Now, that has never, ever been part of the American system. It is a grotesquely dangerous decision, and I think the commander-in-chief has the responsibility to protect the United States in a situation where the court has clearly gone too far.
And I agree.
And I think that's a case that's well worth debating.
I agree, and that's exactly and you pointed to Abraham Lincoln in your debate, and as you know, I have a bestseller now about Lincoln. What Lincoln did was he issued executive orders, Emancipation Proclamation, the most famous, all right? And he challenged the Supreme Court to overturn him. But he worked within the system. He didn't haul them in, which he could have done, in front of Congress and said, you got to impeach these people because they're saying that black men and women are cattle, are property. He could have done it, but he worked within the system.
Right. But at the same time, the example of Boumediene would relate directly to Lincoln. You're exactly right. On the other hand, the question of whether or not you have control over the judges' offices goes back to Jefferson and Madison. They eliminate 18 out of 35 federal judges. Over half the federal judges are abolished. So all I'm suggesting, I'm not arguing for a specific case, although I do think Beery is such a clearly, vividly anti-religious bigot that he ought to at least be looked at. But all I'm suggesting is there are ways for the Congress and the President to rebalance the system. You don't have to tolerate judges running over our liberties in ways that are very dangerous.
Okay. So front page article in the New York Times today, Mr. Speaker, saying the anti-Gingrich ads running in Iowa right now are hurting you. Do you see it that way?
Absolutely. When you have millions of dollars of negative advertising saying all sorts of things that are untrue. You bombard people with robocalls that are negative, direct mail that is negative. People out here are sick of it. I've been campaigning the last 2 days just asking people a simple question. Would you like a positive campaign or politics as usual with these negative ads? Overwhelmingly, I've had very large crowds. Overwhelmingly, people are telling me that they're sick of these ads. I think by sometime next week, the ads will be counterproductive, and I think it'll be quite clear. And that's why I challenged Governor Romney today to tell his super PAC they have $1,400,000 in negative ads lined up for 1 week in Iowa next week. And I challenged him to get that super PAC to run positive ads and see if he can compete on a positive basis rather than trying to tear down my candidacy.
All right, but I just want to be clear, but you do see that these negative ads, and there are tons of them, are taking their toll and taking some support away. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, we had Bill Clinton on program.
Look, I wouldn't vote for the guy they're describing, Bill.
No, but I think the voters
I just
are
said
smarter
I wouldn't
than that.
vote for the guy they're describing.
No, I know that. But I think the voters of Iowa and all over are smarter than that.
By January 3rd, it'll be fine.
Right. I think voters are smart. They know.
I agree with you.
They know what it is. All right, now, we had Bill Clinton on the program up top, and we talked about you. And reading his body language, he didn't say anything bad about you, but I did ask him, do you respect Newt Gingrich as a man? It's a long pause. He said, I respect his intellect, is basically what he said. I want to hear from your point of view.
Yes.
Bill Clinton, do you respect him as a man? And does he have a good view of you and what you tried to accomplish when you were Speaker of the House?
You know, I think that if you compare him to Barack Obama, there's no comparison. Bill Clinton had been governor for 12 years. He knew how to work with the legislature. He tried to move his party closer to the center with the Democratic Leadership Council. We had a relationship where I had to pass a bill or it couldn't get to his desk, and he had to sign it or it wasn't going to become law. We negotiated welfare reform, and it worked. We negotiated a tax cut, and we brought down unemployment to 4.2%. We negotiated 4 consecutive balanced budgets. So I think you'd have to say that there was something going on there that allowed a liberal Democrat and a conservative Republican to put the country first in a way that, unfortunately, President Obama can't find. But I also have to respect President Clinton. Remember, his wife's in the cabinet. And he is a loyal Democrat. What is he going to say? Oh, I really like Newt Gingrich a lot, and I'd really vote for him over Obama.
Well, no, but
he can't do that. He's clearly committed to President Obama.
No, but he said that he liked the Bushes, and he was more bullish on, say, Bush the elder than he was on you. But I want your opinion on this. It's important. Do you respect President Clinton as a man?
First of all, he beat Bush. First of all, I respect Bill Clinton. I think Bill Clinton's had a long career. He's been very durable. He's done very positive things with his post-presidency, and you have to say that he is a very serious person and one who's worked very hard. And frankly, I mean, it's easy for him to be good about the Bushes because they're not going to run for office against President Obama. I don't think he wants to give you a quote that we could use in an ad next summer to try to draw moderate Democrats away from Barack Obama.
All right, Mr. Speaker, always a pleasure. Thanks for taking the time.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
The American people create jobs, not government.
Would you reappoint Ben Bernanke?
I would fire him tomorrow. I think the Fed should be audited. I'm not particularly worried about Governor Perry and Governor Romney frightening the American people when President Obama scares them every single day. When I was Speaker, we added 11 million jobs in a bipartisan effort, including welfare reform, the largest capital gain tax cut in history. We balanced the budget for 4 straight years. How would the country feel today at 4.2% unemployment? That's my credential. I'm going to outline a 21st century contract with America. It's going to be far bolder, far deeper, far more profound than what we did in 1994 or what I helped Jack Kemp and Ronald Reagan do in 1980. I am very much in favor of school choice. My personal preference would be to have a Pell Grant for K through 12 so that every parent could pick with their child any school they wanted to send them to. I think unemployment compensation should be tied directly to a training program so that 99 weeks becomes an investment in human capital, giving us the best trained workforce in the world. But I believe it is fundamentally wrong to give people money for 99 weeks for doing nothing. The Congress this year, this next week, ought to repeal the Dodd-Frank bill. They ought to repeal the Sarbanes-Oxley bill. They ought to start creating jobs right now, because for those 14 million Americans, this is a depression now. Well, I'm frankly not interested in your effort to get Republicans fighting each other. I, for one, and I hope all of my friends up here, are going to repudiate every effort of the news media to get Republicans to fight each other to protect Barack Obama, who deserves to be defeated, and all of us are committed as a team. Whoever the nominee is, we are all for defeating Barack Obama. Nothing will turn America around more than election night when Barack Obama loses decisively.